Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 11 secrets lotteries don't want you to know. Do you ever play the lottery? If you do, have you ever won anything, and has it been more than what you've spent on lottery tickets? Well, in this video we're going to break down some secrets lotteries wish you didn't know. But before we hit the jackpot, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too? Coming up first, we have expiration date. We all know and expect an expiration date on things like milk and meats. But when it comes to lottery tickets, they're just a piece of paper, right? They don't need an expiration date. Well, that's how many people do think, as they're unaware that every lottery ticket has an expiration date. If you knew about this, I'd be very impressed, seeing as many don't, including lottery winners. Now, typically if you win the lottery, you have around 2 to 3 months to claim your winnings. Otherwise, it either rolls over to the next winner or is kept by the lottery company. This almost happened to a man named Jimmy Smith. His ticket won him $24.1 million. But he couldn't find his ticket and therefore couldn't claim it. The New York Lotto put out various posters saying that his date was expiring soon. Luckily, he found his ticket and claimed the money 2 days before it was drawn on May 23rd, 2017. But just imagine if he literally lost $24.1 million. Legally now, lottery companies have to make people aware that they've won. That's why they spend tons of money advertising winners who haven't claimed yet. So guys, if you buy a lottery ticket, just remember where it is and remember to cash in if you win. The largest amount ever unclaimed was $1.5 billion. Somebody won the Mega Millions lottery jackpot of $1.5 billion and they didn't even claim it. Either Bill Gates is the person who won this ticket, or someone is just really dumb. Next up is illegal anonymity. If you ever won the lottery, would you want anyone to know? If you're really smart, the answer should be absolutely not. Many people do publicize that they've won the lottery by choice. But this is usually a terrible idea. It means everyone will want a piece of your money, scammers will come after you, and people will try and sue you for crazy things. Now, in most countries, you're actually allowed to be anonymous if you win the lottery. But in some US states, this is actually illegal and you must declare whether you've won the lottery or not. If you're a private person, then say goodbye to that, as the media love to pick up on lottery winners and document their every move. State lawmakers say that if people who won the lottery were anonymous, this would be very untransparent. But putting people's personal details out there and saying how much money they have isn't usually a good idea. In 2015, Gregory Birch Jr. had his home broken into. The criminals then took his life and stole from him. Sadly, his family was in the house at that very moment. Gregory had won the money only a few months before this happened, and the criminals found out thanks to the media. So if you live in one of these places where anonymity is not legal and you win the lottery, I suggest investing in some security. The actual amount. You may think that people who win the lottery never have to work again, but even when it's a huge amount, this is sometimes not the case. That's because the amount they say you've won isn't usually the actual amount. That's right, even on lottery winnings, Uncle Sam has to take what he has to take. Let's say you win $1 million. Now, you can either say to the lottery company you want it in small segments, or you can say you want it right now. If you want it right now, then you actually only get a percentage of the money, usually around 70 to 80%. Then you'll need to pay a federal 30% tax. Then in the USA, you have to pay around 5 to 10% state tax. And even if you didn't opt for it as a lump sum and you want it in increments, you have to pay your taxes on that every single year. So this means that if you won $1 million, you'd actually only end up with $480,000. And that means if you win $1 billion, you only end up with $480 million. Obviously, in either case, that's still a ton of money, but it's not exactly what's advertised, right? This is why many lottery winners go broke, as they believe they've won a lot more than they actually have. So you better get a great financial planner and accountant if you plan on winning the lottery anytime soon. Next up is lottery scammers. As I already said, winning the lottery and having it publicly out there means you'll attract a lot of scammers. People may come to you saying they have a great investment opportunity, promising you tons of money back. But it could turn out to all be one big scam or a bad investment and you lose a ton of cash. But that's not even the worst of lottery scams. Sometimes the scammers are the people actually selling you the lottery tickets. A few years back, Nabil and Jacob Pavine were arrested for scamming a lottery winner. They actually owned a convenience store that sold lottery tickets. The person who bought a lottery ticket in their New York store actually won $1 million, but they told them they'd only won $1,000, trying to keep the $999,000 to themselves. Luckily, these guys were caught and arrested, and the money was given to the rightful winner. Another man named Ahmad Faragala sold something called winning tickets. These were fake tickets which had already won, and then when people went to cash in their prize, they realized they'd been scammed. According to cops, he'd made nearly $250,000 from this scam. That's why you should only buy lottery tickets from authorized retailers. Otherwise, you never know, you could be getting scammed big time. Next up, we have preying on the poor. I am sure you've heard the lottery be referred to as a poor person's tax. But is this really true, or is it just a nice way to win a ton of money? Well, it turns out people play the lottery more when they're poor to try and get out of poverty. One study from North Carolina found the poorest counties always have the highest ticket sales on the lottery. Apparently, around 40% of all lottery players are actually below the poverty line. This is then accentuated by the lottery running very targeted adverts. In their adverts, they may show someone who's poor who then wins a ton of money and then lives a life of luxury. But of course, there's a tiny chance that will actually happen, and it really does prey on the poor. If you need more proof, lottery ticket sales actually rise with unemployment. That's right, the more people who are out of a job, the more ticket sales the lottery gets. In the 2008 financial recession, almost every industry went down except the lottery. Lotteries actually had record sales and made a ton of money from people who were desperate and poor. Next up, we have the real odds. So we've already seen the real amount you actually win if you win the lottery. But what about the actual odds of winning the lottery? I'm sure you've heard that getting struck by lightning is more likely than winning the lottery, and that's absolutely correct. Most of the time in lotteries, you need to pick 6 numbers out of 49 and get them all correct to win the jackpot. That means that to win the jackpot on just the most basic and easy lottery, that's a 1 in 14 million chance. This means even if you buy one lottery ticket a week, it would take you around 300,000 years to actually ever win one. But what are the odds for the most difficult and most bought lottery in the USA, the Mega Millions? Well, the odds for that are even worse, coming in at 1 in 176 million. So unless you're feeling ridiculously good lucky, then I suggest not buying a lottery ticket. But if you've been hit by lightning, bitten by a shark, and hit by a meteorite, then you should buy one. That's because all of those things combined happening to you are more likely than winning the Mega Millions. Next up is lottery donations. So the lottery may not be good for poor people, but at least it helps schools out, right? Lotteries are always bragging about how much they help out school districts. And some lotteries' slogans even involve the words helping out schools. Well, unfortunately, that's not always the case. You see, when lotteries give money to the schools, they're not really giving it directly to the schools. Instead, it actually goes to the state and then is allocated to various things. That's right, for all the money the lottery donates to schools, it may have no effect on the kids whatsoever. That's because it simply goes into the state's general fund and can be used for absolutely anything. Patrick Pierce, a political scientist, even said given a few years, a state would have spent more money on education without a lottery. So even though these lotteries like to brag about how much they help your kids at their school, this is actually not the case. Next up, we have scratch cards. You may be thinking, okay, winning the lottery, unrealistic, but maybe I can win one of those scratch-off cards. Well, unfortunately, the odds of one of those are also equally as terrible. The payout per dollar spent is usually much worse than the normal lottery, and so is the odds sometimes. The most popular scratch cards, the $1 and $5 ones, are the most popular, but also have the worst odds and worst winnings. You're actually better off buying the more expensive $10 and $20 scratch-offs. Barely anyone buys them, but it's actually more worthwhile to buy those than the cheaper ones. They have much better chances of winning and a much better return if you do win. The $1 to $5 tickets are actually low return and are designed to keep you hooked on playing. That's why lots of the time you simply win $1 to $5 back. They want you to buy another one, keep playing, and then buy more expensive ones. So it's actually best to cut out the middleman and buy the most expensive scratch-off possible. So that's why it's best to just buy the most expensive scratch-offs if you're going to buy them at all. But really, with odds worse than the normal lottery, why even bother? And finally on the list of secrets lotteries don't want you to know, we have the downsides. You may think that if you win the lottery, your life will change forever. Well, this is no doubt the case, but it may not change for the good. We've already mentioned how one man lost his life after winning. But did you know that lotteries are also terrible for marriages? Many lottery-winning couples end in divorce within a few months of winning. Not only that, lottery winners get very depressed and bored easily. If you don't have to work for anything, then this gives you no reason to have any motivation or to do anything. Not only that, they lose a lot of their friends. Their friends will suddenly turn into leeches, trying to get as much money out of them as possible. And many lottery winners have actually admitted they wish they never won at all. So before you go out and buy that Mega Millions ticket, give this a think. Will your life really be improved by winning the lottery, or will it be a big inconvenience? Use the poll in the top right corner to vote for if you play the lottery or not. Personally, I don't, but I'd be interested to see what you guys do. If you guys want some more amazing videos, check out my second channel. There'll be a link to that coming up on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now, leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.